Thank you. Ah, cool. So, I know it's late. I know that we all want to drink, so I'm going to make that short, sweet, and hopefully a bit unique. My goal today is not necessarily to present you Nodel, it's to present you Nodel through what I want to do with it and through what I hope we can achieve. So let me do this next slide thing. Amazing. So that's the program for today. As I said, it's going to be pretty short, I think. I'm going to go through some presentations, get this out of the way, then think of what is Web3 today, or at least what do I think Web3 is today, because it sounds like we all have different versions of what Web3 is. And then let's start thinking of what it means to bring Web3 to the real world. Sounds very buzzwordy, sounds very catchy. Hopefully we can make that a bit more tangible. So let's do this. Presentations. This is me. If you want to talk to me later, look for the dog. Pretty easy, right? There's not two of them. If you're looking for a job, I know some of you are. We are actively hiring. So there's a QR code. Feel free to scan it. So far, that's our team. 40 versus 4. It's a part of our team. We're pretty global, normal startup, crypto startup type of thing. And this is us. So we are the 11th Parachain of Polkadot. It was not an easy one. It was a very interesting battle, but we did it. And we like to say that we are mobile first. We really focus on mobile use cases. Nodel by itself is a project, a framework, a network, whatever, that runs mainly via smartphones. And you will see why. It's going to be a bit more concrete later. So far, we've been focusing mostly on IoT. Sounds very mysterious. It's Internet of Things. It's embedded devices. It's your AirPods, your fridge, stuff like that. Sounds boring, but then again, it's only the start, and we want to do more than that. We do think that we're a bit of an end-ramp to Web3 in the sense that everybody using Nodel and participating in our network is able to do that without having to buy coins. There is no that barrier to entry where you need to go on an exchange, KYC your bank account, all these things, right? And we do think that just because people participating in our network can actually get rewarded for it with no setup or friction, we do think this can be used to help onboard normal users to Web3 without having to go through exchanges, right? Bit of a parenthesis. Last but not least, and you understand why, I like to think of Nodel as a bridge between the real world, the physical world, us today here, our devices here and there, what we do in the real world, us having drinks, meeting today at amsterDOT, and we bridge that back to the digital type of thing, right? Nerds. So I'm going to continue a bit on parentheses just to set the base. We are building on Polkadot, but actually we decided to build on Polkadot by building on Substrate. Substrate, if you're technical, it's amazing. It's the best way to build a blockchain today. And that brought us to the Polkadot ecosystem. I guess that's our wall of fame, right? We were pretty early. We were one of the first, 2 or 3 production Substrate solo chain type of thing. We are very interested in Substrate because it's much more modular, it's much more convenient and flexible than any other solution on the market. And when you build on Substrate, well, it's rather easy to then connect to Polkadot, so you may as well do it. It's going to provide you a bit more interoperability, which is very interesting to us. If you run a chain and nobody interacts with you, it's going to be very tough to build an ecosystem, to onboard people to your app, right? And to actually be useful and relevant in today's market. So in that sense, we really want it to be interoperable with other chains. And that's amazing to see all the Parachains here today, because we are able to finally have these discussions around what does it mean to actually interact between each other, right? Can I run part of my infrastructure, let's say, on other parachains? Can I use smart contracts from other parachains with my protocol and things like that? So I kind of wanted to say that we are migrating from our solution to our Parachain. I'm going to skip on that. I'm going to switch to the interesting things, which is a bit more like what we do, right? Essentially, we ask people to install an app on a smartphone. They just run it, they participate in the network, and in exchange of that, they get rewarded in tokens that are interoperable with the Substrate and Polkadot ecosystem. Some nice KPIs, not the most relevant today. This is starting to be a bit more relevant to bringing Web3 to the real world. Like, how does that actually work, right? Keeps pushing you guys, hey, we do this, we do this, we do this, but how do we actually do it? Essentially, it's very simple. We have this network, and we ask people to turn their smartphone into some kind of sensor, a gateway. It can feel the world around it. How does it do that? We just use the sensors on the smartphones. If you have a smartphone today in your pocket, it collects a lot of things. It collects location. It can connect to Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. It has an accelerometer. It can check the temperature. It can check so many more things, right? Essentially, our SDK is here to expose all those sensors and their capacity back to our network, which is controlled by our Nodel chain, our Nodel Parachain, shall I say now. And this SDK is actually what is present in the app that we went over very quickly. This is what we have achieved. It's a nice visualization of the places where we are or where we have been. And as you can see, we are everywhere, right? Mostly. Enough about us. Let's think of Web3. So going to close the parenthesis on what we do. And we're going to dive into, I would say, what do I think Web3 is? And I hope this is what you guys think what Web3 is. But hey, we'll see about that. So what is Web3 anyways, right? I'm sure that if I pick 10 of you guys randomly, we will all come up with different definitions. So when I say, well, I want to bring Web3 to the real world, what I mean is that I want to bring this thing, what I'm defining, to the real world. And what is it? From my point of view, Web3 it's a culture, it's a shift, it's a movement about enabling people, giving them tools to be responsible for themselves. We call that being self-sovereign, right? I can make my own choices, I control my data, I can control my finances if I want to, I can join DAOs, I can work for a dozen DAOs at the same time and not rely on a single central employer. I am free to do all those choices, right? And all those are primitives. I can do all those things, but I can do so much more, right? I can tokenize my interactions with companies and DAOs. I can issue a personal token and raise funds for myself, all these things. So, on top of that, there is a notion that I think is very interesting, is that all these capabilities in our ecosystem are opt-in. They are not opt-out. Today, if you set up your iPhone, everything is opt-out, right? You want to stop sharing analytics? Just opt out, it's fine. You want to stop sending your data to Google? Just opt out, it's fine. But essentially what we are building is different. We are giving users a choice to opt in into our systems and new primitives, right? And that's very different from what's been doing, what companies have been doing for the past few years. And I guess I like to think that this brings us more flexibility, choices, it's beautiful. Let's drink the Kool-Aid a little bit, and we love it. But my issue today with what we've been doing so far, it's not really an issue. It's more of an afterthought, which is we've been doing amazing things. Don't take me wrong. We are doing DAOs, metaverses, NFTs. We're doing things that are amazing, but they're still digital, right? It's us in this room interacting together on these platforms. It does not transcend to our interactions as humans, right? It does not transcend to us moving around the world. It does not, see what I mean? It's still us and computers. And in many sense, that may also be why we struggle to explain what we do as an ecosystem, in the sense that it's not tangible. And obviously, I did a definition, because I was not totally sure if it was the right word, but tangible really means something that you can feel, something that you can touch. And obviously, we cannot touch we cannot touch an NFT, right? But that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that my vision and what I want to do is that I want to make what we do as an ecosystem more real, more people interacting together. How can I bring, I don't know, let's say, how can I bring payment streams to my day-to-day life? Can I stream my salary, maybe, Obviously, we don't do DeFi, so we don't do payment streams, but you get the idea. So, we've got all this out of the way. I don't know how much time I have left, but we are nearing the last part of the presentation, which is we have all those things. We have, that's what we do, and there's Web3. There is what I called Web3, at least, what I defined as Web3, which is us having a choice, maybe enabling each other to make an income by themselves or to take their own decisions. Essentially, obviously, I'm from Nodel, so I think that we can build a lot of that on Nodel. But this is the kind of things we are looking at. We are looking at various applications that we can build atop the network that rely on real-world interactions. So some of them may be a bit nerdy. There's no need to think about all of them at once. The most interesting ones for today will be private social interactions. You will understand later why. UBI, although UBI is a very interesting and debatable topic in many cases. And proof of participation, attendance, which I'm going to close with. The first application of Nodle, and the one that justifies why I called us a bridge between the real and digital world, is our ability to connect devices. That is what we've built today. And it's very meta, it's very nerdy, right? But it's what we're going to build on top of for the next steps, for actually bringing real-world interactions between people together. Essentially, that's kind of what we do today. Our smartphones are able to locate devices and connect them, right? And these open a tremendous amount of use cases. But the one I'm the most interested in for this slide for today is the ability for people to generate an income from what's around themselves. That's what Nodle does, actually. As you can see here, when devices would send data back to the network, some amount of tokens will be streamed back to the user's wallet. And by doing that, in a way, we give tools to everybody in this room, or somewhere else, right? It doesn't need to be in this room, to generate value from the data on themselves, instead of giving that value back to big companies, corporates, Web2s, Apple, Google. All right? That's cool, do a bit of money, do connect devices here and there. But here is why I'm here today, which is what I call pulp. may have to find a better name, but these justify what I was saying about interactions. Essentially, as of today, there is a solution that exists in our ecosystem that allows us to commemorate our participation within an event. It's called POAP, POAP.xyz, proof of attendance protocol. But as of today, the main challenge from this solution and the similar ones are that they're not really tied to anything. If you have a POAP today, it's an NFT, like you just claimed an NFT because you came to an event, and that's cool, but then again, it's not tangible. Like, what does it actually prove? I just claimed an NFT, like, okay, well, thank you, but what's next? What's next, I hope, is this thing, obviously, which is proof of participation. Essentially, we have a network which is pretty much everywhere, as we've seen, at least on a macro scale. And we can use that to prove quite a few things. We can prove that you guys and I, we were together here at amsterDOT. We had a great time, lots of drinks, lots of coffee. But we were here today. We interacted together. So you can think of that as proving location, proving people in the same place. But something even better is that we've been building, I think a year or two ago, it started when some previous crisis started, if you know what I mean. We came up with a protocol that allowed two people to prove that they were together at the same place. Meaning through our smartphones, we had a coffee, and we generated a proof that we are together, same place. It's cryptographic, it's verifiable, and I can do that without revealing who we are. Very important, because obviously we don't want to disclose our private life everywhere. And this is what is defined in these white papers, what we call the whisper protocol, because we make people whisper between each other. I invite you to read it, to have a few more details, but otherwise here is a high-level view. Essentially, what's going to happen is that two devices have a key. They have an identity, it's our wallet, and they're able to exchange a shared secret and put that together with your key and your friend's key, and that makes a proof. Like, that's super simple, and there's no advanced cryptography. But nobody's been doing that so far, and we've done it. And the thinking here, and I guess that's a good way to open our discussion, because also the point of today is, let's have a discussion on that. Like, how can we make whatever we do more tangible? How can we bring normal people to our ecosystem? So essentially, you guys and I, today, we are at amsterDOT, and sorry to the amsterDOT participants, organizers, sorry, but maybe, because we are here today, because we joined the first amsterDOT, maybe we should have governance rights, and maybe we should be able to decide where will be the next amsterDOT. Why not, we do that already with crypto. We reward our early users, and they get governance rights. Look at Uniswap. And yeah, that's the kind of things we would enable. Obviously, there's still commemorative values and stuff like that. But what I'm most interested in is what we can build on top of this first exploration. And that's going to be it for me. It's a nice opening, I hope. And let's talk more over drinks and, reach out if there's any questions. Cool. Thank you.